You're talking to me because I'm the founder of Saints Beverage Group. I design zero-proof cocktails for drinkers. That's what I do.
I'm your hardest person to fight because I'm the opposite of an ANA guy.
Gen Z isn't drinking as much. That is a fact.
What is creating the bite?
You probably know this. If you're drinking orange juice or eating a piece of sourdough bread or a ripe banana, you're having like 0.4 ABV.
How do you feel about the word mocktail?
Oh, find my center.
So, Eryn.
Korby.
Korby.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You go by Korby.
I go by Korby.
Eryn Korby.
Yeah, my mom calls me that.
Okay, so we got it now. I like it.
Korby.
Korby, tell me about yourself. What are we're doing? We're talking about non-alcoholics, and why are we talking to you?
You're talking to me because I'm the founder of Saints Beverage Group, and my passion is zero-proof spirits, premium zero-proof spirits, which is a really big distinction today when this category is blowing up, right?
Yeah.
So I have a store, a retail shop downtown in the Arts Factory. It's called Sin City Saints. Saints Beverage Group does distribution locally. I'm actually working on a super premium portfolio to go regionally to luxury enclaves like Aspen, Jackson Hole, and Scottsdale, and that's going to be my House of Saints portfolio. So I'm working on a few different things. But zero-proof spirits is my passion. I stopped drinking a few years ago. I don't consider myself sober. We can talk about the whole sober conversation as we kind of get into it here. But, I just don't drink anymore. And once I discovered zero-proof spirits, I said, well, we have the technology. What I didn't realize was on-premise was going to be really slow to adopt, and kind of subpar products were going to be the first ones to get into mainstream distribution. So, I'm working it every day, both in Vegas and regionally and nationally. I work within the ANA industry. It's the adult non-alcoholic industry. That's like the technical term for the industry.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's a new term for me. I know I'm going to hear a lot of new terms today.
Yeah, it's a whole new niche. It's got a lot of new terminology. ANA is just adult non-alcoholic. I'm a member of the ANBA, which is the Adult Non-Alcoholic Beverage Association. I'm the only member in Vegas in this association. And I'm regularly in contact with a lot of industry leaders and thought leaders and people who are, and brands, obviously, people who are working in the space every day. So I'm kind of a nerd about it.
Absolutely. So when I go to Sin City Saints Beverage, it's Sin City Saints in Arts District.
Yeah.
When I go to that, that's sort of like a boutique for purchasing alcohol or what is it? ANA spirits.
Yeah.
And so you're also like the distributor for that in Vegas.
Yeah, so I'm a reseller. So basically I have a portfolio of brands that I work with, and I work with each brand individually to distribute, and I have like a special pricing that I get on those, and those are the brands that I distribute in Vegas that you can't get anywhere else. And then I have brands that you can get other places, and I resell them to hospitality at a discount because I'm really the only one in town still selling those, because a lot of the liquor stores and the other places where you can get spirits don't sell the ones that I have. I have a focus on super premium and basically the good stuff.
Well, and I was going to say, I'm shocked because I try to stay pretty versed in even if it's not something I personally use, such as I'm not a non-alcoholic spirits guy or ANA guy, but I know it's super valuable. I know I mentioned it before. There's 30% difference now. There's 30% less drinking and less gambling from the younger generation.
Sure.
So, and it's not that they're not going out, So how do we keep that vibe and also, not interfere with a person's evening by making it like the topic of conversation?
Right.
Oh, you're sober.
Right.
It's like you order a cocktail name. The person that saw it knows that it's non-alcoholic spirit or beverage, but it doesn't need to be, oh, you don't drink, and then start that whole conversation. Which, if we're being honest with each other, that's like the new veganism now.
Welcome to my goal. I want to make it not a thing. My goal is, I'm making it such a thing now, and I'm making such a big deal out of it now, because later, what I want it to be is you and I walk into a bar, you drink, I don't, and we look at a cocktail menu, and right alongside all the beautiful specialty alcoholic cocktails, there are equally beautiful specialty non-alcoholic premium cocktails made with premium NA spirits that a bartender is pouring from a bottle, not some, carafe of juice. And I order mine and you order yours and we say cheers and we go on with our night. And nobody had to have that conversation because it's not even worth talking about.
Yeah. That's the thing, because it's like there's a stigma about like and now people are aware that there's so many people actually that tell you, like, if someone offers a drink to a person, like there's several servers at my restaurant, and they don't drink, and that's great. But then I didn't know we need to go into, I'm 5 months sober every single time we talk about you don't drink. You know, it's like, I don't ask you to taste anymore. And it's also like, well, let's not make it a big deal that you don't. That's just normal too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because I am somewhat of a black sheep in the ANA industry, because the people who are the loudest and the people who get the most kind of publicity are the influencers who are doing exactly what you have said. They are talking about how many days they have been sober. They are talking about how many years they have been sober. I am happy for them. I am glad that their life is so much better now. My life is also better since I stopped drinking, but I never talk about sobriety because, you know, and maybe it's a generational thing too. I'm a little bit older. I was born in the 70s. And so when I think of someone talking about their sobriety, I think of recovery. And a lot of them are and have been in recovery. And not that that's a negative thing. It's a great thing. But it's not something that just needs to be in conversation all the time when you're out socializing, trying to have a good time. I am of the opinion that everybody can have a good time without alcohol. And I think that it just shouldn't be a thing, and we shouldn't need to talk about it constantly. It's something, you know, if it's your yearly sobriety anniversary or something and you want to say, you know, I'm really proud of myself, great. But it's like, it's nonstop. It's loud. It's kind of almost like politics in a sense, right? Like the extremes are the loudest. The party hard, drinkers and the extreme militant sobers are not the majority of the population.
100%.
The majority is somewhere in the center. I drink moderately, or I don't drink, but occasionally I have a drink, or I stop drinking, but I still have a drinker's palate. And I want something akin to a cocktail that I used to know that is delicious and balanced.
So with that statement in mind, who would you say is actually driving growth? Because, I mean, I know we talked about the Z generation is 30% younger, but I was telling you how it's servers too.
I think that. And the Nielsen statistics and others actually don't bear out that talking point. And I see competing talking points because my algorithm doesn't understand my POV at all. And it just shows me all these things. So I start my day in like a fit of rage sometimes because I'm like, no, this isn't what I want to see. So Gen Z, I see competing talking points all the time. I've done my own research. Nielsen and other statistics do not bear out that Gen Z is the driver. Gen Z isn't drinking as much. That is a fact. But they are not choosing non-alc over alcohol. They are choosing THC. They are choosing, just to not drink and have it not be a thing, but they're not necessarily purchasing non-alc spirits. The driver and the people that I see every day in my shop that are most interested in this category are boomers, Gen X, and elder millennials. And the statistics bear that out. So
I think that has something to do with money then, right? Too. It's like because no one can afford anything, and the younger group really.
It's the same reason that Gen Z isn't drinking. If you can't afford a $20 cocktail, you're not going to be able to afford a $15 mocktail. Don't get me started on that word. I'm sure we'll get into that. But my point is, like, they're not going out. They're going to 7-Eleven and buying a Four Loko if they're drinking.
Right.
Or they're getting a nice coffee and smoking a joint. Like, they're not going out to purchase a beverage on premise because on premise is crazy expensive.
And I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I honestly, it's funny that I've used that statistic of 30% less drinking and gambling, but I didn't actually put in the thought that says it's because they don't have the money to do it.
It's because they don't have the money.
So that's a huge factor. And is it like a time of is there like weekend moderates? Is there like, like people, obviously there's people that completely don't do it at all.
Yeah.
But then is there some people that are like putting in a drink, one alcohol based drink and then one ANA after that and spacing out?
That's called zebra striping.
Zebra striping.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what zebra striping
is. That is a term that's actually pretty popular over in the UK. They've been using it for a while now, and it's kind of made its way over here. So zebra striping is exactly that. It's taking and having an alcoholic drink and then choosing a non-alc drink, and then going back and forth, moderating. That's zebra striping.
Okay. Wow, that's cool. I like that. You're going to give me a whole bunch of new little terms to use. And I want to start talking because I need something to make me imagine I'm drinking right now.
Yeah.
This, I was excited. You said, by the way, thank you. You said you're going to leave this with me.
It's yours.
I'm super excited. I love Amaro in general. And Amaro makes a lot of sense in the ANA industry, an Amaro-esque spirit, because what is most ANAs? They're, botanicals, a little bit of glycerin for mouthfeel, but the more botanical it is and the more herbaceous it is, the more you don't realize that you're not drinking.
Absolutely.
So like Amaro to me is the driving force. And if I can ask a question based on that, is it difficult to replicate alcohol without ethanol? As in you're making a spirit, and we know it's not going to be the same.
Sure. It's never going to be the same.
But what is that?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with the Amaros and also the Aperitivos. And, this industry, I'm looking at your bar here. It's a really well-stocked bar. I see a couple shelves that have the Aperitivo, have Amaros, and you have a lot. And even you having a lot, it's maybe 15% of your bar, maybe, of your selection here. In ANA, Amaros, Aperitivos, and bitter spirits, utilizing mostly gentian root, are almost half the category. Because it is much easier to replicate. Because what you are getting, the mouthfeel, what your brain chemistry is recording is that bitter spirit when you drink an Aperol or a Campari or something like, or any, Averna or whatever you're using. It's that bitter that you're getting.
Is that what I'm getting right now? The ginseng?
So it's gentian. So this is a Pathfinder. This has gentian root, orange peel, angelica root, which is a big one in non-alc. It also has Douglas fir, has terpenes. It's a hemp beverage. So it's got all kinds of incredible, it's like a magical forest. When people try it, I ask them if they've ever had Fernet Branca. And if they say yes, I'll say, okay, it's kind of like a Fernet. And if they say no, I'll say, have you ever had Jaeger? Because more people have had Jaeger. And I say it's kind of like a bougie, high-class Jaeger.
I mean, I'll tell you, if Jaeger smelled like this good.
If that's all they have to compare it to. So I try to, prepare their palate for what they're going to experience.
See, now that's pleasant.
There's a lot going on there.
That's
and
pleasant.
It's all good.
And my biggest problem with ANA spirits, and I told you before you came out, I'm like, I'm your hardest person to fight because I'm the opposite of an ANA guy. I like extra alcohol. And and to find something that I don't mind being, I don't want to say tricked, but I don't mind that it's not alcoholic. I'm a person that just needs to imbibe something because I need to do something with my hands. And it just feels weird when you're just staring. And
it's the ritual of having a cocktail. It's the ritual of having something in your hand. And that is why for people like me who are, not even people like me, people who are done with a Heineken Zero, they're done with the Liars and the Seedlip that don't have any of the 3 Bs, bite, bitter, or body. They don't want that. They want something more complex because they're wanting that ritual of a real cocktail. They remember the real cocktail. And so the militant sober people who are driving this industry, a lot of them haven't had a drink in an incredibly long time. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm saying that's good, but I don't think they're necessarily the right people to be judging what a drinker is looking for in ANA. And 93% of the people purchasing ANA still drink alcohol. So in my opinion, I'd like to market to the 93% over the 7%. Would I like 100%? Sure, but you can't make everybody happy. And if I have to choose, I'm choosing 93%.
Yeah, absolutely. You're like, I'm pretty good at math.
I'm no math whiz, but that's just basic economics.
Well, okay, so if I can bring us back to like creating an alcohol like spirit, ANA, what would you say, like, what are the things you have to make it successful or make it taste right? Like,
Well, you got to have the 3 Bs, and I've coined this term. I don't know if maybe I didn't. I have to do some deep research to make sure I'm not lying. But
allegedly,
this is what I say. I say you have to have 2 out of the 3 Bs minimum. Try for all 3. If you can't get all 3, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But you can't have 1 out of 3. Then it's just a lackluster cocktail. Bite, bitter, and body. Those are the 3 things you need for a balanced ANA zero proof cocktail. And that's what I call them. I don't call them mocktails, because then you get into a perception of value, and that's a whole thing. And that is why the conversation on Threads and all these different platforms, why does my mocktail cost as much as a cocktail? It's just juice. And then people chime in, no, there's zero proof spirits. And it's like, nobody quite understands the reality. And the reality is that perception is reality. And yes, the non-alcoholic spirits cost more to produce. Ethyl alcohol is incredibly cheap. It takes 3 times the water load to do the botanical extraction in non-alc spirits than it does in alcoholic ones. And they are smaller batch. They are smaller companies. They don't have the big alc money. And so, yeah, you're getting like a premium product that is made by a small producer, and the alcohol's not in it. And that is the cheapest component of any of these bottles. The cheapest thing in there is the ethyl.
Yeah, right.
That's cheap. So something like this is using much more expensive ingredients to make. And they are only charging either what a cocktail would cost or less, because mentally, on premise is like, we can't charge more. Like, we have to, if the most they can charge is what an actual alcoholic cocktail costs, but then they end up pricing it less. They're not losing money, but they're making less of a profit on a non-alcoholic cocktail because the products inherently cost more for them to procure than alcohol.
Yeah. I mean, that's really well said. And it actually, I like laying it out like this because it makes me like, I already knew the money aspect of what you're missing out on if you don't do non-alcoholic spirit or ANAs, and if you don't have a decent offering, not just a couple, but like now you kind of need 5, 6 ANAs to really offer enough variety that the people that, cause even at Ferraro's, I should use this as an example.
Yeah,
we use a lot of liars. I appreciate the people that rep Myers. I'm not the biggest fan of any ANA spirits.
I know Jason. He's a very nice guy. He's been in the business a long time. I've met him a few times. Great guy. He had the foresight for, Liars is a big brand, but doesn't have the 3 Bs.
It doesn't have the 3 Bs. And that's another thing. So it was bitter, bold.
Bite, bitter, and body.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that's missing from most of them is bite.
Yes.
Right? Like almost all of them.
It's a British brand. So when you think about that, and you think about the fact that Seedlip, Ben Branson, who founded Seedlip, guy's a genius. He's a marketing genius. He's, I have not met him personally, but I've heard he's a great guy. So I'm never putting down individuals. What I'm doing is I'm saying there are more there are spirits now that are, as a category goes along, you improve on it. And Seedlip was the first. What a great idea. But it's kind of just macerated botanicals in water. I think it's a great layer to add flavor and volume to cocktails, but I would never use it as a base spirit in an ANA zero proof cocktail because it just doesn't have any of the Bs.
Yeah.
It just has flavor.
Right.
So dilution's the enemy in zero proof cocktails. So what I like to do is use something like a Seedlip or a Liars as a flavor layer to add volume instead of using mixer. Because if you're using anything but tonic as a mixer, a juice or a club or a soda, it's going to dilute too much if you use more than a splash. And that's another reason why these cocktails are more expensive, because you have to use more product to make them.
Well, and especially, and I think you mentioned to me before we started, analog is a term. Mm-hmm. An analog, will you explain analog to me?
Yeah, so it's just one of the categories in the world of zero proof spirits. So an analog spirit is anything that is akin to something in the alcoholic world, your basic spirits, your whiskeys, your gins, your rums, your tequilas. It is very difficult to make a non-alcoholic vodka. We can talk about that if you want, but there are not a lot of those, and there's a reason for that, and the reason is vodka is the taste of ethyl.
Well, yeah. And how do you charge? How do you charge for? Well, this kind of makes my drink taste a little less flavorful.
Right, right. Exactly.
But I mean, you also have what? This brings me to a new point.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hardest spirit or ANA that is, what's the hardest one to make an analog? What's
vodka, because they have tried, and they do have a few out there. It's incredibly difficult. The execution is, poor to mid on all of them, but people want them. I had a brand, another British brand. A lot of these originated over in the UK. There was a brand called Strike. They are no longer in existence, and I had a few bottles left of their vodka. And someone found me. I don't even know how, because I don't even do any marketing of my site outside of, not even really in Vegas, let alone outside. And someone from Pennsylvania ordered and paid $99. I make my shipping $99, so people don't try to get things shipped, because I just do local pickup and delivery. So that's why I do it, to deter people from choosing shipping. Somebody paid the shipping for 2 bottles of this vodka, this Strike vodka that I had.
Dear Lord.
Because I don't know why. And I emailed them. I said, you know what? You don't have to pay the $99. I'll charge you what it really costs. I never got any word back from them. I sent it. It got there. I don't know. People want NA vodka for whatever reason. They want to try it. I don't know. It's another layer. It's another layer to add volume. So if you're going to use the vodkas, you can use them they have a little bit of like a little bitter profile. You can use them to add volume instead of a mixer. But I think they do a really good job. A lot of brands do a great job with the tequilas. This is my favorite whiskey that you're holding.
What's this?
Naked NKD. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. They use oak concentrate in that, so it gives the real nose of whiskey. The thing about the analogs that people should remember is that they are not meant to be enjoyed straight or as a sipper. They are meant to be enjoyed in a cocktail, or at the very least, you have to add non-alcoholic bitters. And you can add regular bitters to any non-alcoholic cocktail. It just has to be 2 dashes per 5 ounces. Because if it's any more than that, it's above 0.5 ABV, and then it's not technically non-alcoholic anymore.
Right.
And if someone's really sober and they really can't have, I always say, if you're drinking orange juice, and you probably know this, if you're drinking orange juice or eating a piece of sourdough bread or a ripe banana, you're having like 0.4 ABV, So
wait a second. So you're opening up a whole new line of questioning right now. You said a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to remember all of them. But you're mentioning that it's almost you can't expect it to have 0 alcohol.
You can. If you use something like all the bitter, if you use non-alcoholic bitters, you can. But my point is, a lot of bars, and I've experienced this because I will give them a recipe with bitters, and they don't want to purchase all the bitter, which is the brand I recommend. Not because it's not delicious, it's the best. It's the best on the market when it comes to non-alcoholic bitters, because it's too expensive. And they can get whatever bitters, Angostura, they have. So they'll use that. And I'm like, okay, you do what you want. It's your bar. I'm not telling you how to make your cocktail. But if you use more than 2 dashes per 5 ounces, that's an alcoholic cocktail.
Well, I mean, God, the other thing that brings up, since we're talking about that, is a lot of them will on menus will say no proof or non-alcoholic.
0 proof.
But then are they 100% accurate on that? And
it's place by place. You don't know. So if they're using bitters, or if they have so beers, for example, I'll use craft brews as an example. A lot of the craft brews have 0.5 ABV. That is legally non-alcoholic, but it's a trace amount.
Now you say legally non-alcoholic.
Federally, legally non-alcoholic.
So a kid could purchase it?
I mean, can they? Yes. Would they? No, because kids aren't going to want a craft beer that doesn't get them drunk.
Now, is that for sure, or should we allege this
I mean, I've noticed that, and that's another conversation in the industry about, like, okay, should we be letting teenagers purchase this? The answer is, a teenager wants a fruity drink that doesn't taste like alcohol, that's going to get them drunk, not a bitter drink that tastes like alcohol that's not going to get them drunk. So usually that's not even a problem.
That is, I mean, you're right? Like, I've never been, even when I was a kid, I still am not a huge beer drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I like beer, and especially like hot day, I like a lager, and I love sour beers.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm not your typical beer drinker. When I was a kid, I always was kind of like confused by.
I brought you a couple beers. So
I would love that.
You can give them away.
No, I enjoy them. I'm not someone like that speaks in depth about it, because it's just not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I like beer, but I don't love beer, And there's a time and place. Like, there's certain times where a beer is just so easy to just have. So even if it's non-alcoholic, it doesn't matter to me. Right. I would enjoy it if it's tasty. that still confuses me. I really want to like dial into what to expect. Like a kid shouldn't even be allowed to order a non-alcoholic or buy a non-alcoholic beer from the store. And I feel like if it says 0.05 and it's in a beer bottle, I'm almost kind of shocked.
Well, but they can buy a kombucha at Whole Foods, and that's pretty much the same.
That's true. That is true.
So, yeah, but then I've had teenagers come in, and I will sell it to 18 and up. If they are under 18 and they are with a parent, and I've had that too. I have a friend who she brought her daughter in. Her daughter's 14, and she gave her daughter a little bit of the beer. She's with her parent, and it's 0.5%. It's literally like having, it's a very ripe banana.
Right, so, which is crazy. I didn't even know that bananas had alcohol.
People give orange juice to their children. It has 0.2 to 0.4% at any given time, depending on the fermentation, before pasteurization. So it's like...
I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we drink alcohol. There's alcohol in sourdough bread.
Also, yeah, God, it's like it's like you want to say like, yeah, I knew that.
Right, it's like something that you inherently know, but that you forget. Like it's just not. You don't think about it because you're not getting drunk from bread.
Wild. Well, and I want to like hone in on the triple B, it. What is creating the bite? What is it that makes a difference between, like you said, flavored water and that pop that you expect from a cocktail?
Right. So capsaicin is what delivers the most bite. People use different types of capsaicin. For example, Danny Trejo has a line of spirits, the actor, and he uses habanero capsaicin. But then there's capsaicin derived from jalapenos. And so it's different capsaicin levels. I have habanero tincture that I add to a lot of my cocktails. When it doesn't have enough bite, I'll go ahead and add the bite separately.
And a tincture would be an alcohol based thing, right? Like, because you're saturated. Oh, no?
No, they're glycerin based.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, because like we'll make some tinctures and
you can make it. Well, obviously alcohol.
And like you said, that's why it takes more time to ferment and infuse flavors into it, because without the alcohol, it doesn't extract as much, right? So that makes sense. And now with capsaicin, if I'm writing a cocktail menu, I probably should I put that on like the list of ingredients?
I would put like a little asterisk contains capsaicin, because some people don't. I mean, my mother cannot have anything spicy.
Exactly.
So she's helping me out of my store now. So when I was sampling her on the different beverages and the different brands, Amethyst, which is a brand I represent, contains capsaicin, and it's quite a bit, has a really great bite to it. It's one of my favorite spirits in the whole ANA sphere. And, she didn't want to try it. I said, just try a little bit, see if you like it. And it was okay. But, some people, when I don't warn them, and it's not just Amethyst, but any of the capsaicin spirits, they'll be like a little, because they're not designed to be enjoyed straight. They're designed to be, at least over ice with, something like Amethyst you can do with the mixer, and that's fine. The other ones are designed to put in cocktails. So you're not going to be drinking it straight. So it'll catch you in the back of your throat sometimes, because there's quite a bit of capsaicin in some of these.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was very interested when you said that about the others that I've tried before. I was like, huh. That would make me wonder if those other ones had it and didn't say it, because yours listed on the bottles that you have.
A lot of them don't have it. I mean, Seedloop doesn't have it. Lyre's has a very tiny amount.
Yeah. And honestly, that's like the most important part of those 3Bs, is because if I don't have the bite, it doesn't feel like I'm drinking. And
right.
I guess you don't, people that are strictly sober, I imagine their reasons, what they want out of it, is different than mine.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put my own what's important to me, base it on everyone else's palates. Like, because for me, if there's no bite, I'm like, am I even drinking?
But that's how I am too. And that's exactly why I do what I do, because I design zero proof cocktails for drinkers. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Like, in a nutshell.
I like that.
If someone isn't drinking, great. You can also have this. But the people that aren't drinking, they're going to find me anyway. They're going to try it anyway, because they're excited that there's something interesting that they can now drink instead of a soda or a Heineken Zero. But it's the drinkers. That's the harder group to get, is the drinkers that are going to say, yeah, I'm going to give this drink a chance. And wow, you've impressed me. You've wowed me with the complexity of this cocktail that has no alcohol. That's
Okay.
the market. I'm after the 93% of the drinkers that are purchasing ANA, and they are. That's the statistic.
I mean, yeah, because we really so that brings me to a word that you briefly mentioned it earlier, mocktail.
Oh my God.
And
are you ready?
Yes, tell me your feelings. How do you feel about the word mocktail?
Oh, I say, find my center. Okay. So I'm gonna read something now, because Julia Momose, who's a very well-known bartender, restaurant owner in Chicago, was very ahead of her time with this. In 2017, she wrote a manifesto called Spirit Free. She, at the time, was kind of railing against the use of the word mocktail. And she said in her manifesto that the very term mocktail evokes negative feelings. The word is merely the combination of mock and cocktail. So then, is it a mockery of a cocktail? A disappointment, since it isn't a real cocktail.
Yeah.
Looking at the definition of mock in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, one may tend to agree that the connotations are negative. I do not want to serve, nor do I want to be served, a mock-up of a beverage or an attempt at a cocktail. I want a proper drink! Exclamation point. And I have like shirts that I'm having made up. This is, I want a proper drink. I want a proper drink. And she was right. And she was ahead of her time, 2017. She said something made with care and thoughtfulness that takes into account the ingredients, balance, technique, and most of all, the person for whom the beverage is made. And I mean, that's it right there. She was ahead of her time, and people, this sober influencer sphere has gotten a little bit out of control because they are trying to own these spirits, which I don't believe will thrive in sober environments as much as they will thrive in hospitality.
Yeah.
Right alongside alcohol. And that's where I want to put them.
Yeah, I love that. And I've been nosing this for a minute, and I did want to talk a little bit about it. And before we finish today, you're going to make us one of your signature old-fashioned cocktails using all your ANAs. And you were because I was expecting, instead of vodka, I was expecting you to say whiskey, which vodka actually makes a lot of sense, because how do you justify the price? Whereas with whiskey, it's like whiskey drinkers, there's not too many vodka drinkers that are out there like, I know the nuance. There's this note. There's this note.
Right.
They're just they either hate or they love their brands.
Or they have their favorite brand, and like there's really like no rhyme or reason to why.
They couldn't. Yeah, I was gonna say they can't tell you why.
They can't tell you why.
It's like that one's the smoothest, but that one's the smooth. It's the smoothest.
Right.
But so I was thinking, in my opinion, it was whiskey, and then you showed me this. So, what would you say is why this does represent? Because I know I'm nosing it.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of whiskey aromas.
I want drinkers, I want front of house professionals and beverage professionals to be evaluating this based on their sophisticated palate. And too many of these spirits are quite literally judged in cocktail competitions and spirits competitions by people who are these sober people that don't have a hospitality background. There's a lot of them, and that's rampant in ANA. There are a few really amazing experts, and I give them all their flowers, and I'm always clapping for them on social media, but there's far too many people that quite literally have like a tech background and no experience bartending, no experience in hospitality, and they're judging things with their sober palate, and they haven't had a drink for however many years. They don't know what a drinker wants. And I'm not saying, and they have an absolute right to their opinions as well.
That's an important opinion.
And also they do represent 7%, and we want that 7%. So we would love one person like that, because everyone's different, right? It tastes subjective. So let's get, but not a whole panel of people like that. And that's what they do in these, a lot of these non-alc spirits competitions is they're not being judged by people like yourself, people that are bev alc, hospitality, front of house professionals. There is one gentleman in the space. He's kind of one of the biggest leaders in the space. His name is Derek Brown. I respect him very, very highly. I think he's one of the only people doing it right in non-alc. He's already ahead of the game. He's working with Hilton Hotels, helping them with their beverage programs. He was a bar owner in DC. He has a drink consulting company called The Drink Company. And he also goes in and helps beverage programs create not only zero proof menus, but low ABV menus, which is the place that I think this should really be going over, one versus the other.
Sessionable stuff.
Right. I personally, I don't drink anymore, but once in a while, I'll have a glass of wine. Once in a while, I'll have a beer. Once in a while, I'll taste somebody's cocktail. I wouldn't mind 1 ounce of liquor here and there a couple times a month, just to, just like I don't mind a THC beverage once in a while, right? It's a tool for socializing, but cue the sober people that no amount of alcohol is good. You did Big Elk pay for your opinion? I mean, this is all day long on the interwebs, and it's like I wake up in a fit of rage, and I'm like, I can't handle this because I want to throw my phone against the wall because I feel like I'm fighting a battle on two fronts. Vegas, as you know, is a unique market, and they're a little bit late to the party on a lot of things. But when they get there, their party is bigger and better than everybody else's, and that's with every trend. And I'm also kind of fighting a battle with the ANA industry because they have let the sober influencers kind of dictate the terms because they have big reaches on social media. They're very trendy, and they're dictating the terms when hospitality professionals should be dictating the terms.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
It's very interesting that you said that because I'm a judge for the Proof Awards.
And it's that. Wait, that's
Michelle Tell and Michael.
Oh, well, you know who put me is the same guy that put me in touch with you is Matt.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And Matt Lindsay and me we've been there. I think he's been there a year or two longer than me. And he's a Som guru. He's, well known in Las Vegas.
We've known him forever.
Matthew Lindsay. He does, Som dinners and stuff. So you could definitely just Google Matthew Lindsay, the Lord of Wine.
The Lord of Wine.
And I thank him for putting us together. But so to speak on the Proof Awards, that is exactly what you want out of a cocktail, a spirits judging competition, because the goal is to have all buyers, all people that work within the industry, and they potentially will be buying from that what they've tasted, because it's like we do a double blind on day.
She has a ton of categories.
Oh my god,
yeah,
it's just so much that if you tried every single one, you couldn't do it as a judge because they need to break it into like 3 groups, just because there's so much and you get palate fatigue and all that stuff. But their goal, and much to your reasoning of, I need to know what that 93%, the people that were drinkers and what they think about it were drinkers and what they think about of these spirits and ANAs. And I swear I remember something that tasted like this, because I wouldn't be surprised if you guys submitted for the 2025, because
I don't know if they did.
Yeah, this brand, just because
it's possible.
It's reminiscent, and I remember being like, man, this is a hard thing to do, and they did a decent job of it.
Right.
I don't want to say you're like, and you, as you were saying, it's not. You're not going to think you are drinking whiskey, which this is the closest to it that I've tasted.
Yeah.
These aren't meant to be sipped alone, and I did just put a dash of orange.
Oh, you did? Okay, because this all the bitter is, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the industry, I think the best non-alcoholic bitters just in general. Ian and Carly, who created this brand, they are incredible human beings, first and foremost. Some of the best people in the industry. You will not find a single person in the A&E industry that has anything bad to say about them. They are the best people. They are so generous. They are so supportive. And it's a couple who met when they were sommeliers at the French Laundry. So they know their shit. And they make the most incredible non-alcoholic bitters on the market. And if you put a little of that in any of these non-alc whiskeys, and really anything, I put that in my margaritas.
Or with alcohol.
It's incredible.
These are really good.
I know.
I
brought you a bottle.
That's amazing. This will go to extreme use because that bitter component especially if it didn't have the capsaicin or something like that, is really a game changer. And Fee Brothers was the only one that I know that's available pretty readily that you could find a non-alcoholic bitters. But then you look at the back and it's just like red 40, yellow 5, every single bad word that you can think of.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, come on, Fee Brothers. And I'm looking at here.
They're in Chico. They have a whole new facility. They just went into a larger facility. They have a bottle shop and a cocktail lounge where they do all non-alcoholic cocktails. They are just incredible people that make an incredible product. And I think that these bitters should be in alcoholic cocktails as well as non-alcoholic cocktails because they're
Agreed.
that good.
Absolutely. So I want to give this one a specific shout out. And this, like everything here, I'm not paid to do this. So I'm just telling you.
I'm also not paid.
Unless you go to her shop and buy something. That might benefit her. But definitely do that. In the Arts District, it sounds like somewhere I need to go.
Yeah.
But all the bitter, to me, it destroys Fee Brothers Orange Bitter. And looking at the ingredients, there's not one thing in here that I go, oh no.
Yeah.
It's apple cider vinegar, orange peel, gentian root, dandelion root, coriander, cardamom, lemon. And that's another reason you go, why am I spending this money if there's no alcohol in here? And it's like, well, did you just hear all the things I'm reading off?
Right.
Those aren't cheap. And I need to do huge batches of it.
You go to Herbally Grounded and you're paying for these incredible tinctures with all these roots, very medicinal roots. That's what this is. It's
well, that makes me want to go into something specific. Non-alcoholic products aside from spirits.
Yeah.
What could you see? Like, what are they using besides those ANAs that really that should be or can be used in adult non-alcoholic beverages?
You mean like the functional stuff, like the adaptogens and the nootropics?
Yeah, things that you find interesting. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Sorry. Adaptogens, and nootropics.
Yeah.
Go. Carry on.
Well, so these are buzzwords in the industry right now, and all the RTDs, and we don't even have enough time to talk about my feelings about RTDs. Every day there's a new ready to drink can of ready to drink cocktail in a can. Non-alcoholic. Everybody's making one. Every day my feed shows me a new one that just popped up. This has got to shake out. It's untenable. They can't all make money, and they're not all good. Very few of them are good, but they are all hawking the adaptogens and the nootropics and what they can do for you. And truly, is ashwagandha a great thing? Is L-theanine a great thing? Yeah, but there's not enough in these cans to do anything for you. There's just not. It's like a splash. It's just buzzwords and marketing. But in the spirits that are the functional spirits, which are more akin to like an elixir, they're more concentrated when they have the adaptogens and the nootropics, like Dromme, which I'm gonna put in the old fashioned. That's got, there's Dromme is a Danish inspired spirit. It's a functional spirit. There's awake and calm. We're gonna use the calm today. It's ginger and molasses is the flavor profile. The sediment goes on the bottom, so you gotta give it a little shake. The kick you get from that when you drink it straight is ginger. There is no capsaicin in that, but you'll see how significant that kick is, even because it's just packed with ginger. So it's ginger and molasses. It's got things like lemon balm, MCT oil, valerian root, reishi mushroom. So it's got all these calming adaptogens and nootropics that are designed to give you a calming feeling. Can this spirit do that? Yeah, I mean, it can to varying degrees depending on how sensitive you are to these compounds. But I think that the spirits are the only way you're going to feel anything from this because they're more concentrated. The cans, you just can't. But, Katy Perry's got a line called Des Soirs. They have adaptogens and nootropics. There's a brand called Aplos that does a fairly good job in the cans. Again, you can't really get enough in the cans, but their spirits, they have functional spirits too, and I'm a fan of theirs. So there are some of the functional spirits that really do, the benefits that they purport to give. There is some aspect of that there, but they're just, unless you're taking like a vitamin capsule or, a tincture of just this adaptogen or just this nootropic, like what kind of feeling can it really give you? You got to be really sensitive to this stuff. I love this Dromme and other the adaptogenic functional spirits that I drink, I love them because I love the flavor. I love them because of how they behave in cocktails. So
this has a vermouth almost quality to it.
You think?
Yeah, like, the color. There's a woodiness. It's almost like I'm smelling wormwood. I don't know if that's just in my head because I want it to.
Well, there's wormwood in the Pathfinder.
Absolutely, and again, that's hands down one of the best Amaro that I've A&A Amaro that I've tried, and this gives me a lot of those. Like I take a long time with the nose before I even dig
see
in.
that. I love that.
Because then I feel like that's a
You're
huge
the kind of
factor.
person that should, this is what I want. I want people with your kind of experience to be experiencing these spirits.
Dude, honestly, this could be used as it's a little sweeter than a typical sweet vermouth, but it could fill the void of a sweet vermouth.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't ever think about that for Dromme, but you're right.
I like it. I see that now my brain starts going, okay. Because I'm already thinking like using the whiskey and the Pathfinder.
Oh, I do it all the time.
I want to try to create like a sour.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go to my because I also want to crack an egg.
Yeah.
I feel like an egg white whiskey Amaro sour with these flavors. Got some lemon juice. This could be something.
Wait, did I bring? I brought something. I brought an orange sec.
An orange sec? Oh, I for my whiskey sour, I wouldn't put orange sec in it.
But just like a little splash.
I'm going to put this in there. That's our orange.
Okay.
Trust me. If it needs something else, then we're going to do the orange sec.
I made a whiskey sour with it once and it was really good.
So we're going to try this because I'm curious to see. You said you have a sec. So this is like if I'm going to make an A&A margarita. I would use this. If you're doing lemon drops, could use a triple sec, things like that. So let's
use it in a lot of different things, and it's got quite a bit of capsaicin.
Do you want to taste this as well? I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it.
I mean, I like it. Happy to taste it anytime. And I've put this with the Pathfinder before. I mean, there's just so many great combinations you can make with all of these things.
Okay. It's pretty soft. It's not like an overwhelming orange. Like I would say all the bitter orange cardamom had like way more. Obviously, it's bitter.
I put them together because this is a little. I mean, it's sweet. You'll see. Yeah, it's quite sweet. It's almost like a cordial.
No, but I like that. That's tasty. I can see that. This is exciting. It's fun. It's fun to have options.
It is. That's what I'm about. Options.
And I mean, especially, I'm curious. So if you could you don't even need a specific licensing. If you wanted to do you would just need to be health code compliant.
Right. Yeah. And I'm working with the city right now and, have been talking to the health department because I don't have plumbing in my space, but I'm right next to 18 Bin, who is actually they're launching a brand new NA menu. I have 5 selections on there, including my Yuzu Margarita, which has become kind of my signature drink. And they've got 2 of the craft beers that I carry on the menu. So if a place like 18 Bin, which is, a pretty heavy drinking crowd, right, can go all in on an NA menu, then really anyone can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they've gone all in on it with the selections that I've recommended. Even though at first when I was talking to them, I was like, well, it requires like 6 ingredients, this margarita. And they were like, well, I don't know. And then I had a pre-batched sample of the margarita. And I said, just try this. And they said, yeah, just do it. Because they were like, this is great. Yeah. So whatever it takes to make this, just do it. And I appreciate that because they understand that it takes a few ingredients to make a really quality zero-proof cocktail. I
mean, yeah. And that's the other thing. The more ingredients that you're actually using will take away the pressure to have that A&A doing all the work.
Well, of course. I mean, that's especially with the analogs, that's what they're intended for, is to be used in cocktails. And too many bartenders and people who are purchasing this product who really haven't delved into it more than, oh, this is what the distributor happens to carry. They're just subbing it. And that's not the way. It's just not the way.
This is not the way.
Subbing is not the way.
Unlike The Mandalorian.
Right. I'm excited. I do love a good sour.
Let's go. We'll start. Might have to add more, but it's easier to add than to take away, as they
That's
say.
right. I always say that.
Dry shake to emulsify the orange or the egg white.
Egg white. I love that.
Especially on this, when you say dilution's the problem, you really need to make sure they're incorporated because I don't want to overshake this, right?
Yeah. Dilution is always the enemy in zero proof. But when you're using citrus, it's okay. I mean dilution by like a soda or a juice.
I see.
You know, like a cranberry juice or something, not, you know, lemon and lime juice. That's different. That's your citrus component. Or sometimes I'll use a yuzu juice.
Now, I actually am going to taste this before I pour it into your glass. So I got to make sure it's up to par before I just
quality control.
Expect you to drink it. You're going to be like, this tastes terrible. Like, let me get over it.
I'm so excited for this.
Actually, let's taste it first. Hey.
If you just made the best zero proof cocktail ever on your first try, I'm going to be very jelly. Because it took me about 50 before I made a decent one. And I've been bartending for 23 years.
Well, I've been bartending for over 15, and it's a big part of my life. And that's actually something I'm really focusing on more now. But I think it's pretty great. And exactly, for a first try, I'm not mad at it at all.
I'm excited.
Which is good news for you. So you might not even have to come into Ferraro's and test me on this stuff, since I am doing all that right now.
Yeah.
And I'm working on spring's cocktail menu. So
I'll get in touch.
I mean, we're going to have to talk, because if you like this, I think this is already, it's like sort of a whiskey Amaro sour, split base whiskey Amaro sour.
I don't hate any of that.
All right. Let's see.
All right. Cheers. Salud. Okay.
I might add more of the Amaro next time.
Yeah.
Just to give it more kick.
So with all the bitter, you put the bitters in, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I always put like 10 dashes per cocktail. I use a lot.
Okay, because I only did like a double dash per cocktail.
Yeah, no. You got to go like crazy on the bitters because they're just the best part.
I mean, these are, I'm not kidding. Those are fantastic. Those will get incorporated.
Technically you could do like 5 to 6 dashes per cocktail. I do like double that just because I love them so much. All right. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, for a truly a first try, I've never...
Yeah, for a first try, it's incredible. Kudos to you.
And I backed it up with some of that whiskey.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I just do all Pathfinder or not even the naked.
Well, Pathfinder sours, there's never anything wrong with that. That's why people love the Pathfinder.
I like that.
Yeah.
I could drink that more than one.
And you're having a cocktail.
That's right.
It's a real cocktail. It's not a mocktail. You're not sucking it down. It feels like you're having a cocktail.
Yeah.
The end.
Exactly.
The end. Let's talk about whatever we're going to talk about at the restaurant where we're talking.
Yeah, so it's like, can I get that Pathfinder
instead
sour?
Of talking about that you're not drinking.
Right.
Because you're drinking.
It'd be even funnier if you're like, yeah, I'll take the Pathfinder sour. And the other guy's like, oh, I like sours. And he gets it. And he's like, this is delicious. And you don't even tell him that there's no alcohol.
The future right there. And it's not about like,
not tricking
people. Right. But that's exactly what I envision the future as. And that is what the leaders that I respect in the ANA category also envision the future as. You're not putting so much weight on the sobriety, and you're just putting more weight on enjoying inclusive hospitality.
Yeah. And that inclusive is probably another key word here, is making your bar or your venue somewhere that everyone feels comfortable.
Right.
Not just, that's the other thing too.
I don't go out anymore because, I don't have any time, but I don't go out because I don't want a Heineken Zero, and I don't want a Liars, and I don't want a Sea Lip, and I don't want a Mocktail. Okay? I just don't. And that's it.
Well,
so
plus, I don't ever want to say I love Liars, because it just feels weird to say that.
And
but it's a really clever name.
I don't want to like dump on Liars. Like they are a really important brand. They have raised the awareness of the ANA sphere and zero proof spirits immensely. They have a big budget, and their RTDs, speaking of RTDs, their RTDs aren't bad. They're easy. If a bar has all these options that I just mentioned, I'm not interested in any of them, but they have a Liar's RTD in a can, I will drink that, because at least I'm getting a little bit of bitter, a little bit of something, throw an orange peel in there, I'm okay. But I'd rather have something a little more complex. I'd rather have something like this.
Yeah, I was mostly just saying the name Liar's, that I love Liar's.
Oh, Liar's.
But because it's it's a clever name,
I love
it's Liar's Spirits,
right.
or whatever.
No, and it's like I said, it's in the UK. And so what I was going to say about that is I really think it's because the palate in the UK is a little bit different. They don't want to make things too spicy there. They don't want to use too much capsaicin because it wouldn't appeal to like the majority of their like populace. And zebra striping and ANA and zero proof cocktails and no and low. This is what they call it, no and low, meaning like low ABV is right alongside no ABV because you can have it. It's like not even a thing there. It's ubiquitous everywhere. And they wanted to appeal to the masses because that's where they started in the UK. So I feel like, it's not that it's not good. It's that it doesn't have as much complexity as some of the things that came later.
Well, we talked about how, the 3 Bs and people miss the capsaicin on there. Is there anything else that you think people get wrong with zero proof spirits and cocktails besides the capsaicin that we already talked about?
Well, the bitters, you see how important they are. You have to use bitters. And as I said, a lot of places don't want to purchase all the bitter or a non-alc bitter because they are quite expensive. They want to use the bitters they have. So if you want to do that, 2 dashes, keep it under 0.5, you can do that, but you've got to put them in there because you've got to have not all cocktails, if they have enough bite and enough viscosity, it doesn't need the bitter. If it has enough bitter and enough viscosity, it doesn't need the bite. But you got to have 2 of the 3. So I always say put bitters in everything. It just helps the cocktail so much.
That's funny. It made me think there's the 2. Now it's ANA can mean 2 things. Adult non-alcoholic. What was the other? No, the adult non-alcoholic.
Yeah, adult non-alcoholic.
And then you have almost non-alcoholic.
Almost non-alcoholic. I love that.
But now that is a question because some people really they don't want one iota.
Right, and some people are very hardcore sober, and that's great. Give them an option too. So, like, there's one of my accounts that has a drink utilizing the amethyst, and they have bitters in it because the recipe I gave them called for all the bitter, but they didn't purchase all the bitter, and so they were using regular bitters. And I said, just be careful if somebody is really, really sober and they don't want that, because I'm very cognizant of the sober guest. I don't want to make it seem like I'm like crapping on sober people. Like it's just the sober influencer sphere, which kind of is at odds with what I'm trying to do with inclusive hospitality.
We sort of touched on this earlier. It's like there's nothing wrong with veganism, but there's a thing that happened where there was like a 10-year period where if someone was vegan, they're going to tell it to you in the first 30 seconds that you met them. It was
their entire identity.
And it still is one of those things at the bar now. When I go to a bar and what's your favorite, you'll get this asked as a bartender a lot, like, what's your favorite thing to drink? What's your favorite spirit?
Yeah.
And, that it's
our
fun,
favorite question.
Fun question, right? But if someone gets asked that and the bartender answers with, oh, I don't drink, I can't, and it's like, but here's your poison,
Right.
So it's like.
and that's happening more and more. There's a lot of sober bartenders. There's a lot of sober people. And so I think that's great. But like I said, I'm pretty much sober myself, but I'll never say sober because I'm older. And to me, sober implies recovery.
Yeah.
Sober implies there's some kind of stigma to it. It's not, the recovery part isn't the bad stigma, but there's a bad stigma attached to the pre-recovery part. And it just makes your brain go to
they used to
the
have
negative.
A problem.
You used to have a problem. And then you kind of you almost feel bad for somebody. And now you're going to the negative and the
These
sympathy.
are all things I do not want at a bar.
Right. And this is not right. We're here to have a good time.
Fun, forget about everything. I don't want to hone in. I don't want to neglect the fact that it's good for you.
Congratulations, wonderful.
But also it's like, while I'm drinking here, don't make me feel bad that I'm drinking.
Right. And so this is, and I have been, and I mean, when I say I fight with these people, I have had some words. I have had some words with people about this because in my opinion, the way that some of these sober influencers are disseminating information, they are actively alienating people who drink that may want to try this, but then see that and think, you know what? These products aren't for me. They're for those weird sober people.
Yeah.
And I know that's the case because I see people, because I have the retail store and I also work within the industry, I have a very unique vantage point where the people who come into the store, I've had people actually say that to me. They're like, oh, well, I don't know, like, I'm not like sober. Like, are these just for sober people? I've had that question asked to me. Sober people will always, in the sober influencer sphere, they'll always talk about the question when someone asks you why you're not drinking.
Right.
No one's ever asked me that.
Right.
No one's ever asked me that. I say I don't drink. They say, cool. That's the end.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever, I don't know who these people are, what kind of judgmental people these people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Nobody ever asks me that.
Well, and it's just funny because no one thinks about, like, everyone goes, oh, good for you, you don't drink. Mm-hmm. But it's like, no one thinks about how it makes me feel when someone that is like, oh, I feel so much better than I used to. Right. And I'm like, am I a piece of shit now?
Right. It's like you're being judged. And nobody wants to feel judged. So when the sober influencer sphere talks about inclusivity, what they mean is including them. They don't mean including drinkers. So it's almost like reverse in judgmental, kind of vibe where they think that they weren't included for so long that now they want to own this because this is the only way they can be included. But they don't want to include the drinkers because the drinkers never included them.
Exactly. That's kind of fair.
Yeah.
So I set you up.
Okay.
Now I do have one piece of bad news. I didn't buy oranges today, but I had lemons. So I have you a couple lemon peels.
Yeah, it's all good.
For your old fashioned.
Make it work, baby.
Your recipe that looks awesome. I'm gonna switch sides with you. I'm gonna switch. Oh my God,
I'm so nervous being in a new bar.
Oh, you're not nervous.
Okay, I'm doing the Dromme Old Fashioned today.
And what do we call it? The Dromme Old Fashioned.
So I'm using, because I'm making an old fashioned with the naked whiskey, which has the oak concentrate. And so you're going to get that oak nose, which you need for your old fashioned, which is a whiskey based drink. But then you're going to also use the Dromme Calm. So the Dromme Calm has that ginger and molasses and kind of almost like a baking spice when you were trying it. I mean, you can taste all those kind of baking spices in there. That's kind of the vibe, right? And also when you're making zero proof cocktails, you have to use not only superior bitters, but you have to use superior syrups, either house-made or a superior brand like Yesco or Portland syrups. I don't actually work with either of those, but those are the brands that I use because you can't. Monin makes some okay things. But if you're using Finest Call, it's just not going to be you're cheapening the cocktail when you're using all these beautifully premium ingredients, and then you're throwing in Finest Call as your syrup. It's just don't do it.
If it has corn syrup in it.
Right. So, and then all the bitters. So I'm going to start with the whiskey. So, and another really important thing, is this a 2 ounce?
Yeah, 2 ounces.
Okay. So another important thing to remember about ANA, especially with analogs, you have to add more. You always have to add more. So 1.5 ounces is the default, with alcohol. 2, sometimes 2.5 for NA. So that's 2, right? So, wait, I'm making 2 cocktails.
Yeah, you're making 2.
So we're going to use 4. Okay. Now, all right. I'm doing 1 of the Dromme Calm. Wait. See, if it's not a bar that I've worked at before,
that's
I get
the beauty
nervous.
Of it. Oh yeah, you're doing beautiful.
I'm doing a 1/2 ounce. I'm going to do a full ounce for both of us of this charred oak and maple from Yesco.
I like that it seems like there's a lot of volume in it too. So even though, let's say, because we were talking about how drinks. Oh, and you added your which bitters, the orange and cardamom from all the bitters.
Put in 15 dashes.
That's right.
You know what? Let's make it 20.
Let's go.
10 each.
And we were talking a little bit about pricing. So especially when there's volume like this and it's going to be an old fashioned and it looks like an old fashioned already. And then I'm going to put it on this big cube. So if we're doing that, I don't feel bad about it costing, more than a few bucks. But now what is the right price? And what are the variances on like what people expect as far as pricing? You know, if you know there's no alcohol in there, you don't necessarily want to pay the same price as a cocktail, but it's obviously a lot of love and a lot of ingredients and a lot of expensive, you know, ingredients went into these.
Right.
So what's the right cost? What should you, or is there no right cost?
So, I mean, when I'm making a cocktail program, when I'm creating a cocktail program, NA cocktail program, I will do it by, no, they're not exactly even.
Oh, it's
I have
perfect.
to use 2 hands.
Neither were the cubes.
I'm bartending impaired. Even though I've been bartending for so long, I have the tiniest hands, so I always have to use 2 hands.
Coincidentally, that makes sense because that cube was slightly bigger. They're all hand chipped, so they're never going to be uniform.
Okay.
Beautiful. Man. And that looks like an old fashioned.
Okay.
Minus the fact that I didn't have an orange peel.
All right, so there you go. You get the bigger one.
Well, I gave you the pink one.
Oh, because I'm a girl?
Well, because you have accents in your hair, and you have pink lipstick, you have pink nails.
You take the pink one.
Son of a gun. She's like, because I'm a girl? I'm like, no, because you clearly like pink.
I mean, cheers.
Salud.
Okay, so let me know what you think.
Already old-fashioned. It doesn't say anything that it's not an old-fashioned on the nose. And that's the thing. It's like, if right away it smells like a completely different thing, I'm not that I'm not tricked, but I'm not buying into it, right? But
for us, I probably should have added slightly less of the syrup because we're like, this is for like the masses.
I wouldn't be mad at this at all.
Okay.
No,
I feel like it's a little too sweet.
I get it. Like when we like our boldness, right?
Bitter,
and
bold and bitter
and the
spicy.
sweetness kind of balances out that bitter.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be mad at this either, but I would, for personally, I might have added like a little bit less of the syrup. Yeah.
Okay, but very cool. And you know what? This belongs on a cocktail menu, so I'm glad I'm on a ANA menu. That's great. So let's finish with, where are your favorite spots? Try to give me like 3 at least. What are your favorite spots for non-alcoholic cocktails?
God, I don't really have any. Okay, well, my favorite spots would be probably my accounts. But
I like the honesty.
Well, anywhere that has Pathfinder, I'm okay with, because at least I have something to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's with Breakthrough has it, so now more and more on-premise establishments are purchasing it, which is great. Audio Bar was my first account. They're my biggest account, and I love them. They have Pathfinder. They also have Amethyst, which is one of the brands I represent. Let's see. Who else? Well, 18 Bin, because they're going to have 5 selections, including some of Bear. They're going to have, which I don't know if it's a brand we didn't try, but it's called Bear Zero Proof. My margarita they're going to have on the menu. There's really not a lot of places that have a quality zero proof cocktail. I've seen a lot of social media from Wynn, and the beverage director there, and she calls them mocktails, but she uses liars. I just have a feeling they're still really good because she's a really talented mixologist. But so, if I'm going to a place like on the Strip and they have cocktails like that are NA but use liars, like it's better than nothing. It's better than a Heineken Zero, so I'll order it. So I think a lot of places on the Strip are really attempting to do something with what they are able to get through the distributors. But I'm a distributor too, so I just distribute premium. So if anybody wants that, I'm around.
Well, where do they? And I know some things are changing, but you are. So let's tell us where we can find you. Where people can.
So my distribution arm is just getting finalized. So I'm at the shop on the weekends. I have a family member now helping me on the weekends, so I can go. I haven't really been able to get into on premise as a rep for my own portfolio as much as I would like, because I actually have another part-time job where I'm performing on a stage 25 hours a week. So, and that's the job that pays me, so I can fund this endeavor.
That's another episode.
That's a
whole other thing I have to unpack.
Yeah. So, but so I, incidentally, like tonight, when I leave here, I'm working until 4 a.m. at this club. So it's not like I can wake up at 9 a.m. after that. And plus I'm running around, I'm pushing 50 and I'm running around like I'm a 20-something on a stage, doing cardio for 5.5 hours till 4 a.m. So my ability to wake up, get into accounts, go and kind of peddle my wares has been hindered by the part-time job, which I have to have. I always think of like, I have all these kind of business, idols. And I always think of like Sarah Blakely and her fax machine, selling of fax machines. And when she first started Spanx and was like putting them in, the display or like going up to the cash registers and kind of sneaking her product into the display. And I'm thinking like, she always said she had like this movie in her head. And and when she was selling the fax machines, like that wasn't her movie and she needed to change the movie. And right now, I think I'm living my movie, but I'm in like the montage part where it's like real hard and I'm working real hard. Like I'm waking up and I'm just like a mess and I'm pulling myself together and going to like this restaurant or that restaurant to talk to whoever because I have to run this business during the day. So I now have a family member helping me, and that's going to enable me to get into more accounts, both in Vegas and with my House of Saints super premium portfolio in kind of luxury markets in and around the Mountain West. So that's what I'm working on. I'm going to be launching saintsbev.com, which is going to be my distribution arm. I'm launching that 2 weeks-ish.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Now we put you on a time clock. So
okay.
you need to, right? People are going to be like, where is this? Well, that's great. I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excellent cocktail. You actually really did. I'm not even kidding. You showed me a lot about ANAs, and I didn't know that I could be taught so much on something behind the bar anymore. And that's like, wow. So thank you for everything. That makes me feel
really, I keep smacking my microphone. It makes me feel really good to hear. I did a USBG deep dive for a lot of bartenders, and I actually had some really amazing bartenders at that as well. Like Kenny from Legacy Room, who, was an award-winning bartender, all-around great guy. And he even said to me, like, wow, and so when someone like you or someone like him says to me, wow, I have learned something, like, and now you know that these beautiful spirits exist and these premium spirits exist. And now it is my hope that the more people like you guys that know this exists will bring it into the Vegas on-premise high-end hospitality world where it belongs, right alongside alcohol and every menu.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. Kenny says it. I agree with it. Kenny Wong is amazing at Legacy Club. If he says it, I always believe him.
And Tim Weigel, too. Tim Weigel's been a huge help to me. And he's amazing, too. And he brought one of my brands into Circa. So I onboarded Circa because of him. So, I mean, I just have a lot of people to thank for helping me get to where I'm at already. And it's, just in its infancy right now.
Well, I hope more people learn about you through this.
Thank you. And I appreciate you. Salud. Cheers.